With how the modern world works, it should be easier now than ever before when it comes to reading. Books like 1984 have been staples to the physical copies that I have in my hand, but I can also have it on my phone. Recently, I downloaded this Kindle app, which is an app that allows you to read on your physical device without the need of books. This is huge, especially when trying to get information across and how we can recite that said information. In the case of ebooks versus physical books, there's always been a huge dilemma on which one is better, why we value one more than the other. In this video, I'm going to easily digest that information and safely say that physical books are better than ebooks, but not in the way you think. Hello, if you don't know me, I'm Arnel Arcega. I'm one of the healthiest authors and writers you will ever encounter on this platform. As such, I make content physically involving my role in reading and writing, why I love it, and with this video, why I prefer physical books over ebooks. It's a long explanation, but if you are curious about the process of reading and writing and you want to personally get involved with writing books, then check out my Instagram down in the link in the description, as well as my books down there as well. For now, let's get into why I prefer physical books over ebooks and what I've learned about understanding this dichotomy. I may sound hypocritical knowing for a fact that my books are written online and they are only digestible through that ebook method. But over the course of this past month having my said Kindle, I've learned that physical books are required for the experience at hand. One of the most notable things I've learned over my course of reading this past year is how much books I was able to maintain from this stack alone. This entire stack right here is every single book I've read in 2025, from start to finish, from first page all the way to last. This is important because in my journey of understanding knowledge, this serves as a trophy, a reminder of the fact that I am continually evolving as a person, and to be able to grow, I need to be better at what I read. It's mentally growing as well as sharpening what's there, and that's why I personally love physical books as much as I do. But in the case of this past month, I've recently went over ebooks. More specifically, I've downloaded the Amazon Kindle app in which I can just get the information across rather easily. It started small. I started buying and getting books I've had over here and made it faster to read. But over time, I started getting more and more books. One of my favorites is Atomic Habits, which is a book I have currently here, but rereading the book on my Kindle has made me more certain about why I read books in the first place. Ebooks are great in the fact that they get the information across simply by being there. It's a lot like scrolling through social media, except you are getting the information physically at hand without the need to carry it on your fingertips. It's great to know the difference between both, as there are benefits and drawbacks to each side, but over the course of this explanation, I will give you my feedback on why I prefer physical books to this day. Before I recorded this video, I actually was going back to writing tools. It's not just a book I want to finish, but it's also one that I continually explore as a writer. It's my favorite piece of literature that makes me stronger in the writing and videos I am making. As such, I'm using one of the tools here to inspire said video. In tool 43 of the book, it's referencing the fact to read both in form and content. This isn't just purely about physical books and ebooks, but rather expanding your knowledge on the topics at hand. For instance, if you want to get better at communicating, then read a cookbook. Or if you want to write a story about superheroes, then read a comic book. These different types of mediums and physical to digital copies will allow us to expand our minds in different ways. We want to be able to understand knowledge better, and that is why we read books. It works well for both fiction and nonfiction pieces, which, keep in mind, I will get to that fact later. For now, we need to know that physical books and ebooks have its drawbacks and setbacks. For one, with physical books, it allows us to get our mind straight. I personally prefer it because of the fact that it makes us more secure. Without the need to instantly scroll on our phones, it always keeps us straight. How well we get information across will be well in the documented information down by the author. The simplest way to understand that is to know why we read in the first place. We read to view information better, to expand on a new world like in fictional stories, or to get better at the knowledge through nonfiction. This is important, especially on ebooks, as that same feeling can apply. For those who have read my stories, which again you can check out in the top link of the description, I captivate the same feelings that many fictional stories do right at my fingertip. It's all about how you process said information. Do you want it to be physically up close to your eyes, or do you want it to be in an easier manner where you could just get it out at any moment's notice? But this is why, once again, I prefer physical books over ebooks. I love the fact that my books sit currently on a place where anyone can access it. Anyone can buy it eventually, and to be able to process and produce that information, it's something so grand that I cannot believe is possible in today's age. But to know why we do the things we do, it comes down to habits. Physical books are, in my opinion, superior in that fact because being able to separate ourselves from our screen is the single most important thing when it comes to getting better as a person. Let's be honest, most of us spend our days on this exact screen. Watching this video, while great for your own lives, will be something that comes and goes. And to be able to get better at what you want, you need to be stronger at the will you are reading. Therefore, if you want to be a better reader or just be a better person with these habits, then you need to start with something real. Start with a physical book in your hand, and like what Writing Tools explained, read it for both content and form. Being able to understand both is amazing in the fact that they both have what it takes to get better. But the difference is, why read something physically in front of you when you could have it on a digital format? This is especially important when knowing certain books out of your reach, which I think is what gives ebook a greater benefit. Being able to differentiate the difference between physical books and ebooks are a different category by itself when we take in fiction and nonfiction. This is the idea that made me come up with this video in the first place. I thought long and hard about why I want to read books on my phone and why I want to read books on paper. And one of the biggest aspects that challenged my beliefs and fueled my desire to know that physical books are indeed better is the topic of fiction and nonfiction. These two mediums can be explored both in physical and digital books. But to be able to know why they matter for each, it's important to know their purpose. Fiction books are a way to escape. It allows us to explore our minds better and to experience a world outside of our own. Meanwhile, nonfiction books like cookbooks are important in the fact you get stronger at what habits you want to go for. As I've explained earlier, cookbooks to communication, comic books to superhero movies. It's simple, straight to the point, but it comes at the cost of how you digest it. Most of these books over here, like Jurassic Park or An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, are fictional stories. And the one true book that does feel the most like a nonfiction piece is Atomic Habits. But in that case, my experience with both have different tastes to me that I feel that physical books are best experienced in fictional stories. When going back to Atomic Habits on my phone, I noticed that through the Kindle, I recited the information so much better than reading it physically on hand. This is because I'm able to go over and highlight each little detail compared to physically highlight and possibly ruining my book experience. I want a book similar like these trophies to be able to be digestible without the need to return to it much. This is why when reading a book, I value starting to finishing it so that I can get the information across. I don't read to continually go back to that information. That is where ebooks have the superiority, in the fact that you can just go back to it anytime, anywhere like a social media website. And being able to have that ability is great, especially for nonfiction. But for fictional pieces that do not need much rereading to get the full story, I suggest physical books. And in a way, I'm saying fiction is better than nonfiction, which is an idea for later. In the case of physical versus ebooks, I do want to note that physical books are a way to escape. Like fictional stories, they get us away from the screens. They get us to sit out there in the real world and to sit with our thoughts on our bed anywhere at hand. For most ebooks, you can do the same thing for physical books. You could go out into the real world and read this same book through your phone, but also have it in your hands. It's all about how you digest said information. And while I love ebooks, I tend to go back to scrolling on social media because of the fact it's right there. For how easy it is to break the habit, so is forming the habit, which is why I value all of these books here, both as trophies of their own right, but also being able to make me smarter and stronger mentally. It's a great habit to fuel, especially when going to bed early, waking up on time, and getting to the point now where I can share my knowledge to this channel. I love the process of reading books, and however you consume it will be important. Know the difference between physical books and ebooks. Why I personally believe fictional stories are better physically rather than digitally, and vice versa with nonfiction. The day I get my stories in my hand will be one of the most beautiful days of my life, knowing that I've written this full-on world and I can have it right at my fingertips and not away from a screen. And that's the beauty I want you to take away. Understand why we read in the first place, why we write certain stories, and why we do the certain habits we do simply because of the importance you need. If you want to digest information better, then read ebooks. It's a highly important key that will allow you to get better ideas. However, if you want to temporarily escape and to be able to release yourself from the screens and experience the real world, then read physical books. It's all about what you choose, and I want you to move forward with that information. Thank you for checking out this video. I hope you can use this said information to make better stories and create something greater than yourself. If you want to write your own personal story, whether fictional or non-fictional, check out my Instagram down in the link in the description and DM me right, along with my books down there as well. Until next time, however, keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.